just realized there's probably a bunch of feedback on that mic. Sorry. Okay. All right. Let's open the bubbly water here. We have an AHA today. Okay, so last time went through container-based Lambda functions versus zip-based Lambda functions for sort of functions on the smaller end. So 5 megabyte, 10 megabyte, and 15 megabyte in Node.js. I want to repeat some of these tests with Python because I had a question about that. I don't fully expect that to be that much different, so we'll see how much time we have. We could probably work on some other stuff too. All right. Make sure I get this to the right size. Cool. Turn the music down just a tad. Okay. And this can get bigger too. Maybe a little bigger. Yeah. Sweet. I have to remember to look at chat again today. Okay. There's the cold start benchmarker, so we need to go over a little bit. Okay. Oh, sorry. I think that's the command. Come on, did we get it? Oh, no, we didn't. Oh, Python Docker. That's unfortunate. Okay. I wonder if I should preemptively kill Docker again. So, when you create a new Python application, what do you get? Okay, so it automatically does the app image thing. That's cool. So it'll build it for us, like that. Okay, cool. So we shouldn't need to change anything here except... Oh, right. Not format, what is it? Oh, no, platform. Platform equals Linux AMD64. Right, okay. I think that was it. What's our Docker file? So we need to copy our dependencies in here, and I think the easiest way to do this is to use like virtual environment. I think would be the easiest way. Let's figure out what's the easiest way to copy, like to create a local install. Server. Let's see if we can get some examples of some dependencies here. What is everyone using for Python dependencies nowadays? There's probably, I mean, my guess is still virtual environment, right? I don't need the runtime interface client, that already exists. That's fine. Oh, these docs probably won't help me much. Maybe this medium post will help me. All right, that makes sense. So you do pip freeze, push it to a requirements file. Oh, okay, then you just install them all there, so you don't pre-build. That makes sense. Okay, let's just do that. That seems like the easiest way to do this. I think Python in my path is already Python 3. It should be. I'm not a Python programmer. Okay, 310, that's fine. Yeah, that's totally fine. What's the base image? Okay, so we'll just change this to 310. I think that's fine. We could do 311 too if we needed to. Is it list? Wow, that took a long time to render that command. Let's see which Pythons we have. Which one is it? Versions. PyNV versions. Okay, we're doing this now. We're Python programmer. Oh, okay. Install 3.11.x. Let's see what we get with 3.11. 311.4. Perfect. Hope everybody had a nice Halloween. I think there's a few people who've jumped into chat. Hopefully it was enjoyable. I didn't do much except hung out with someone from HashiCorp, which was fun. Just a spammer. Sorry, man. Cool. Do a little virtual environment, little VN dance. Do I have any layers I could show too? That would be interesting. Maybe we can make a Lambda layer and then talk about why we shouldn't use them. No, I don't. Not in this region. Maybe US 2? I don't even know what's in this AWS account. No, okay, cool. Cool. Building 3.11 takes forever. Maybe that was a mistake. Well, we have to adjust this anyway. So let's go back to our cold start benchmarker. I pushed a new commit to this. If you're interested in seeing this, I pushed a commit that adds the embedded CloudWatch metric component. Which is how I'm creating these metrics. I was doing that with Datadog, but people got upset. Oh, we have replies and stuff. Sure, we can do P50. No, that's P99. There we go. I think it was P90 or P50, it just didn't refresh. Okay. Cool. What are we doing? We back. Hey, Regalius, welcome back. How you doing? Hopefully you had a good week. Sweet. Okay, we got Python working. Let's do Python. What is it? Python virtual environment? Or no, it's Python. Yeah. What should we call it? Just env? Is that what they call it? No, I like venv. No, make it. That's what I'm saying. Can't open a file. Oh. It usually creates one, doesn't it? There we go. That's what I wanted. Oh, it's still using 310, isn't it? Shoot. I think if we just switch, will that work? Oh, not global. That seemed to be fine. Okay. We don't have any dependencies actually even for 0, so that should be fine. but I wanted to set up the virtual environment anyway. And I think this is what we need for the container image. All right, let's just see if we can get this working. Yeah, copy app.py. It's just app.handler, that's fine. And then we don't need requirements or yum. I don't think we're gonna need that at all because this is coming from the base image. Okay. I don't know if I need an src file. Okay, let's see if this works. And then we'll take a look at the results of the just 0 megabyte container image. Let's just get hello world working, which should be just this. That should be fine. Hey, Lo, are we a Python developer now? No, and clearly I'm just so bad at this. Oh my God, I need to use Finch. I keep reminding myself to do this. No, not a Python developer at all. I very much spend most of my time in Go and JavaScript and a little bit of Python. Would you consider using a layer for share-code? No, I would not use layers for share-code. I'm working on my first YouTube video. It's not at the level of quality I want to publish it right now, so I'm not happy with it, and that's preventing me from releasing it. But I can give you a rundown of why you should probably never use Lambda layers while Docker restarts and this container builds. So like Lambda layers are just sparkling zip files. That's all they are. And one of the nuances about Lambda layers is that when you go from a zip file to a file system, certain trade-offs have to be made, right? Yes. And one of the trade-offs you have to do is you have to figure out which files to keep or overwrite if there's duplicate files. So what? That should work though. Why wouldn't that work? The log out. So the one of the challenges, let's see if this works. Come on, what is this problem? Oh. Does Python 3.11 not exist for Lambda? Maybe that's why. AWS ECR Lambda Python. Let's see if we can find it. I know they have the 3.12 release just came out last week, or at least the base image for it. Yeah, it's right there. Nope, that's right. I didn't spell anything wrong. So one of the challenges with the container with layer-based flattening is that if you have a dependency in your layer that also exists in your zip code for whatever reason, the last layer to merge will override it. So this actually caused an issue at work at Datadog where we had a version of a dependency that was either older or newer, I don't really remember, but the user had specified a different version, and when they added our layers, it started breaking their code because our dependency was taken as it's merged in. There's just nothing you can do about that. If you put every single dependency into a layer, that's fine, like that. You won't have that problem until you add another layer from anything else. Updating package type is not supported. Oh, interesting. So one of the the reason I wouldn't suggest them is that they don't really improve anything. The only advantage would be the only case I think you should use Lambda layers is if you have a very heavy binary dependency, right? Like FFmpeg, or like you have a binary that you call out to for encoding something or doing some bit of heavy lifting that's outside of like your normal runtime. That kind of makes sense. It's a little bit of a pain to build. If you're using, Datadog and most telemetry providers like OTel or any like OTel provider like will offer a layer to instrument your function. That's usually okay, but you can still be aware of the dependency smashing problem. One of the challenges is that people talk about using layers because rebuilding their application over and over again at deploy time is painful. And while I understand that, you just like if you have any like GitLab or GitHub CI/CD pipeline will have dependency caching. So for the most part, that's really fast to just have available. It shouldn't just be completely empty. And as a result, like I don't think it's that big of a problem. Like there's other tools that solve that problem. So there's other challenges with layers too. For example, like it doesn't play nice with editors for the most part. So yes, you can emulate locally, or you can mark something external. Those are all fine, and that works. You can work around it, but there's just no advantage to a Lambda layer versus like putting it right into your zip file or container image. Okay, let's try the deploy from the beginning. I don't know if we ran into a CloudFormation hiccup because I had tried like twice and then rolled back. That's a good question, Regalius. I don't know. I've never seen that before. But it's in the function itself. I always wonder, as we get closer and closer to reInvent, if I am stumbling across something they're in the middle of launching, and that I have no idea about, that there's some new feature they're adding to Lambda or CloudFormation that is something I'm fighting, or they're like in the midst of fixing a bug with it before they announce it. Anything you do in late October, you should be wary. Come on. It seems to be working now. It should be creating a new one. Oh yeah, and you shouldn't use the parameters and secrets extension. I've used it before. It's actually good. The problem is that it's not open source. So I don't really want to trust anything with my secrets where I can't read their code. A service like a managed service like AWS's SSM is fine, but this is a client-side library. So it runs as you, which means any bugs, any problems, any errors you own, not them, which is just, I think all of that code should be open source. Hey, that worked. Looks like that stack created. So yeah, that's why I probably wouldn't use Lambda layers, or just don't suggest them. Regalius says, many companies have deployment freezes in Q4. Hope there are no changes. Yeah, I mean, we do for a bit. I forget exactly when and where, but there's some big days coming up for e-com, right? You've got like Black Friday and then the holiday shopping season and then the holidays, and you have a combination of everybody trying to use an e-commerce application and then everybody also trying to take vacation, where I understand why you do a code freeze. For big companies, like they're gonna do code freezes. Here we go. Okay, that worked. Let's see if this worked real quick. And I didn't add a function URL to this, which is fine. I can do that real quick here, but I can also. Did this work? Oh no, I did. I gotta change the stack name because the function is named wrong. Okay, we gotta remove this again. The function's named wrong. This is the format that I'm actually using for zip-based Lambda functions, which is my own fault. I should have realized that before I ran the deploy. That's okay though. Okay, let's I think that's the format we're doing. Yeah, okay, runtime dash container. That's important. That just makes my query system a lot easier to do inside of CloudWatch metrics. Okay, that's fine. So we can do this, and then we can just add container. Okay, this will work. Now we know that the code's actually working. Oh, we'll kill this really fast. We'll just add a function URL to the first one. There, nice and fast. I wonder if this reInvent they'll add another way to invoke a Lambda function via HTTP request. There'll be like a 5th way or 6th way, because what is it, right? You have function URLs, API Gateway v1, API Gateway v2, ALB. There's got to be another one. Is there a 5th one? There has to be a 5th one. Which one am I forgetting? Someone in chat should know this. AppSync, okay, fair enough, Regalius. AppSync. There's 5. There has to be more. I think it's just like, I don't know. People want to ship something. Once the path is clear that you can do this, it's common to want to do that. Yeah, I mean service triggers. Right. Hey Sabin. Yeah, I'm speaking specifically about HTTP endpoints though. You know, like how many different configurations to directly invoke a Lambda function via HTTP. Although we do know, right, that like SQS or SNS invoking a Lambda function, any of the async paths ultimately resolve to a synchronous invoke, right? So they start on this async path. They go through usually what they internally call a poller, but we call the event source mapping service, which can poll on those sources for you. And then that it ultimately does a sync invoke, ultimately results in a synchronous invocation of the Lambda function. So it starts async and it becomes synchronous. And then the event source mapping, or the poller, is responsible for the retry semantics and some of the other things. Oh shoot, no, don't do that. I forget that. I have a different default browser than the one I'm streaming. Not URL. Okay, that looks good. It warmed it up, didn't it? That was really fast, wasn't it? Oh, yo, thanks for the follow, MW Feroz. Thanks for stopping by. Did we just get like a warmed invocation? Because I don't think, did I actually click that? I don't think I did. Let's take a look. Because my browser would have snapped over there. Last event time. Oh, we did. Okay. So we had a 480 millisecond init, and then we had a second request. So I must have just accidentally clicked it over. I didn't see it, but I can't imagine moving to cloud providers other than AWS. Never say never. One of the benefits I have working at Datadog is, first off, as a company, it's fully multi-cloud. So if you vary which data center at Datadog you use, it'll use either like an AWS, GCP, or Azure. Oh, hey Munawar. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I was just sending you a reply while we were waiting for this deploy to finish. I think both Azure and GCP are good. I worry. I think I, like a lot of people, have concerns that eventually Google, like, they set like a deadline that was made public. Like if the cloud is in second place, right? Like GCP is in second place by 2024 or something. They're gonna talk about pulling out of the cloud industry. I don't know if they actually will, but just they have such a history of killing things that I would be a little worried about it. You know, AWS, we watched them, right? They deprecated EC2 Classic after, what was it, 10 years, 11 years? And they gave tons of people plenty of time to move off of it, which I don't necessarily have the same trust in GCP. Never say never. It's good. I like Cloud Run. Like, Cloud Run's an objectively good service. I think the AWS team can learn a lot from them. Like, App Runner is good, but it has no scale to zero in the way Cloud Run does. Yeah, Regalius, I agree. I think it would be reckless, but if I were passionately advocating on behalf of GCP, that would be a talking point I would have to have, right? Because people would ask. So I can't really blame them. Can you? Okay, so let's try and make a 50 megabyte Python container. I do like Cloud Run. It's a good service. Yeah, like I'm a big App Runner fan too. I think For a lot of the small to medium-sized projects, AppRunner can be pretty cost-effective. You get a free ALB, especially if you have many. Like if you deploy, I don't want to say microservices or service-oriented architecture, but if you have a couple of services and you want to scale them independently, AppRunner is a little cheaper because you typically need a dedicated ALB instance, like a load balancer, for each application instance. And if you have, maybe you only need like 2 or 3 containers behind your load balancer, it can be cheaper to do that in AppRunner, where you don't pay like a $20 flat rate for that, depending on how much you're using. And I don't think it's that much cheaper for that much longer. I think it's definitely a narrow edge case, but it's a nice way to get started. They also have a ton of built-in tools, right? You get deploy from like GitHub super easily. You can just push code and hook it up to their code build pipeline. If you know how to do all of this, it's great, right? You can set it all up yourself, but the whole benefit of the serverless ecosystem is not being on call for it or not being responsible for it. And I think one of the advantages of AppRunners, it's like all in. You could just, like right now I could take this container image and put it on AppRunner. I guess I'd have to add like a web adapter to it or a web server, but regardless, I could do that and then more or less just work for me out of the box with a Git repo, which I think is great. Okay, so we need that Docker commands. Here we go. Oh, we overwrote it, didn't we? No, we didn't. Okay. So we can just do this. Okay. And then now we need to do some requirements. Okay, so we should be able to copy the, oopsies. Where's my 50 megabyte Python? Did that go away somehow? No. I don't know why it's missing. Flask, PsychoPG, Boto 3. Let's see how big this is. What did we do for 50 megabytes in Python before? Okay, what's in the 100? Yo, Cesar, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Let's just do a serverless package. And we'll take a look at the zip file. Serverless framework announced kind of a scary press release. I'm not gonna lie. They announced that they're gonna do a V4, which looks pretty exciting. They have a paid feature now, or I would say like everything is paid. If you have more than 2 million in revenue, you owe them money via some mechanism. And then they also are going to support a new system that they're calling extensions, which I realize is like a little confusing, but the idea is you can deploy to multiple clouds or multiple, third-party providers with like an easy hook into the framework. It's unclear to me, A, how that's different from serverless plugins, and B, what the payment process is and how that would even work. But the thing I really just don't like about it is that it was a super vague announcement post, and I haven't seen any of the like V4, like what V4 can actually do differently. So I'm a little hesitant. I wish it would have been a little bit more clear. Okay, so let's go into the serverless directory. How big is this? Oh, what? How's that 0? There, okay, that is 92 megs. Why was that not working? So Boto 3 is already pretty big. Wait, 1.4, never mind. What's the big one here? Oh, all the dependencies that come with Boto Core. 81 meg, okay, that's pretty beefy. I need a 50 megabyte Python dependency. I didn't realize I didn't have this. I don't know, I have a project for it, but I wonder if I accidentally copied over it and just made it larger with, oh no, I didn't, I just skipped it to 0 to 92, okay. That makes sense. Let's see if we can find a good one. Yeah, we looked at PyTorch. We looked at a bunch of these. What's the easiest way to do this? I think if I build it locally with a prefix directory with pip or with pyenv. So, does everyone use poetry now on Python? I think that's the new one, right? This is like the future of it. Ooh, pendulum. I don't know what that is. It's warm in here. I'm gonna turn my fan on quick. I finally got a rug, so it's like a little quieter here, a little less echoey. That's kind of nice. The dog likes hanging out in here. Okay. Do we want to do poetry? I don't know if we need to. I think we can just use pip built in. Do we have pip? Okay. Yeah, let's try. If we pip install, does it add it to requirements? No, you have to do pip freeze. Okay. So we'll go back. We'll do Python virtual environment. Oh, no, it's Python-m venv dot. Give me that virtual environment. Let's go. Okay, pip install. What was that? Pendulum? Should we just try it and see? pypy.org. What are the oh, they had a, that's right, we did this before. pypy.org/the cost of code. They have the cost of code project. I want to look and see how they are measuring this and if this is going to be different across runtimes. Is this public? Do you have the source code for this? Oh no. It's a 404 on the repo. That's not good. I don't I wish PyPy would say something and say, hey, this maintainer axed their repo or like axed their GitHub account. So just so you know, you're not installing anything that you don't want. I want to make sure I'm doing this right. Pip m install. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. I guess I'm not even talking about using wheels either, which is their pre-compiled version, which is nice. Should we see how big Flask is? Okay. It doesn't. There we go. Lib Python. 25 megabytes. Okay, we're halfway there. We're living on a prayer. We need 25 more megabytes of dependencies. Although we could also, I'm gonna make a note that we just for Flask, like Flask is 25 meg, so we can just Flask and its dependencies are 25 meg. Sheet 10. Oh, this has been a long process. Okay. So Flask is right. Okay, that's fine. Let's do, we need another dependency. What is a common? Oh, is beautiful soup still a thing? Does that still exist? Does anyone know? Oh, wow, it is. Initial release date 2004. What an amazing piece of software. Just copy the whole thing. Let's see this. And I want to pip freeze again. Okay. Wait, it's still 25 meg. Why is beautiful soup not in here? I misunderstood this. It's not installing my packages locally. It's doing something else. Can it require it? I think that's the syntax, right? Beautiful. No, it's not. Oh, beautiful soup 4. From BS4, import beautiful soup. Sure, we can do it. I know just enough Python to be dangerous here. It didn't throw an error, so it's getting it from somewhere. Where is Python getting beautiful soup from, and why is it not a prefix install? I don't like this because I don't know how big this entire function is going to be because I don't know where beautiful soup got installed. Meh ran. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the chat. Working on this little Python hacky project today, but I don't know where my virtual environment. I bet you there's like a user. Yeah, okay. There's got to be some versions. There's got to be like a global cache here. Like a versions and a lib. Here we go. 3.11 lib. There we are. This is where we're cooking. Beautiful soup has got to be here, right? Let's open that up and look. You hate almost every moment of working with Python. I don't mind it. I like the dependencies. I think are the worst part. I just don't know why I can't find. There must be like a backwards compatible version, maybe. No, these are all includes and I don't know. Okay, that's fine. Let's. I wonder if Lambda will just tell us, because it tells you the size of the binary, but that wouldn't be good enough for us. Will it build? The other thing we can do is we can look at the requirements that get generated once the container's built, right? So we can shell into. What? Oh my God. Why is it? Try that. So I think poetry is meant to solve a lot of that, because you get this like poetry project, but the problem that I'm not solving right now is there is a way to do like a prefix install of dependencies, and I just haven't looked it up. No, this is, oh my God. These stupid comments. There's got to be an answer here. Yeah, it's like a dot environment, right? Oh no, I didn't activate it. That's what I did. Chat, you got to correct me here. Come on, we know better than this. What a mistake. Oopsies. Crap. Wow, off my game this morning. Okay, I think this is what I did wrong. Was first off, I created this like bin thing here. I don't think I need any of this. Let's start again. Bin arm rf include arm rf lib arm rf pi. We should do python-m virtual and v and v. I want a new directory. That's what I wanted. I was complaining about it before. Okay, so now we have source v and v bin activate. There we go. Now we're in a virtual environment. Now we should do. Does pip install work here? I know what I don't. Oh, okay. Pip install -r. Does that work? Oh, requirements file. Okay. See, we're getting there. We just try and fail. This is what we did before ChatGPT, everybody. We just bash our head against the wall over and over for no good reason. Was this in the documentation? Yes. Could I have read it? Yes. Did I? No. It has been a long time for Python, but it's fun to be back. Now we should have a prefix install, right? Yeah, of course. There it is. Beautiful soup. We did it. We did it. It's all there. 32 megabytes. Okay, we're on our way. We're doing it. Little Python. I had like I have a very similar experience every time I play around, or I shouldn't say play around. Every time I work on any of our Go backend or any of our like agent project where you have to, run Go mod vendor and Go mod tidy, and it's just such a pain. Like every dependency management for every language is sort of annoying. Don't even get me started on Nugget for .NET. And no, it's not Nougat, it's Nugget. Let's browse a package. Ooh, chat. Should we look at chat modules? Cypherbot. Is there like a Twitch thing we can just... Oh, wow. There is Python Twitch stream. All right. This is getting meta, which is exactly what I want. So now I got a wheel. Oh, God. It's got huge dependencies. Why is it so big? See, I think this is what happened last time, is we accidentally got big. Pip freeze. Now I have to pluck out whichever packages we didn't need. Which dependencies does this thing have? It probably don't even know. I'm sure this is a perfectly good Python package. A bridge between Discord and Twitch chat. Man, there's lots of wow. Lots of dependencies. This is perfect for our use cases. It's dangerous. I think that's our stream parsing library, right? Or string, is it string parsing or for streams? I forget. Oh yeah, it's just it's a serializer. Is there an uninstall or pip remove? Should we find out? Uninstall. There we go. That's what it all comes with. What does it come with? Twitch stream examples, Python. Okay, so never mind. It's still 90. Why is this? What got big here, chat? Setup tools is not big. That's a meg. Urlib 3 numpy. What? Oh, what installed numpy? Does pip have like a dependency tree? Oh, there's a dependency for that. Awesome. Oh, man. Why can't I get this down to exactly 50 megabytes? That is frustrating. I should talk to Alex Debris about this and be like, why is everything so big in Python? Is there like a pip? Oh, I bet I can clear out site packages. Should we just do that? Vnviv lib python site package. Okay, pip install -r. Oh no, okay, so we broke pip now. That's what happened. Okay. It's still pretty big. So we went straight to 92 megabytes again. So it's one of our dependencies. Oh, how did Twitch stream get back in there? I have to figure out a better way to remove just the dependencies I want and not break pip. That's what I think I'm doing wrong right now. Is there a config file for this? Include system side packages. That looks like it could be good. What does pip depend on? Does it depend on anything else? Pip clear dependencies in VMD and start again. That's what I want to do. Here we go. Oh, we can just do uninstall. Okay, that makes sense. Pip uninstall -r. Maybe we'll try that. Let's start from there. Okay, so it's just 25 megabytes of pip, and it needs setup tools. That makes sense. Pip setup tools. What others does it need? I think as long as we don't nuke pip or setup tools, we're chilling. Right? Yeah. And package resources. Okay. Okay, so this is all the directories we can't remove. That's good to know. And it's 25 megabytes flat with just pip, but I don't think... Here's a real question for Python programmers in the room. Do those show up in the bundled zip? I'm guessing so, right? They do. They must do, because we're building them inside of it. So we could do a two-phase build, right? We could do a build step inside of container image number 1 and then copy the dependencies out. Okay, so we know that this is 92 megabytes whenever we... Why don't we start with NumPy. Oh, it's using the wheel. Oh no, it's got the Mac OS version. So this might not even be that good of a breakdown. I think I have to do this in Docker now. How big is that? Okay, that's good. So 85 megabytes. Might be as small as we can get. Okay, let's just try this then. Does that work? Okay, so let's do a Docker build. And then let's see what we actually get inside packages so we can be more sure. All right, so we can do docker exec.it. So the command is sh. The name of the tag is 50 MB Python container. Oh, it doesn't have a shell on it. Really? I got that command run. Yep. Is it bin sh? Oh, it's my contain. Oh, oops. The image tag first. Just gonna use the GUI. Oh, it's probably stripped down and just doesn't even have a shell on it. Oh, it's got bash on it. Sorry, we can see I'm just crawling through the packages here. It's got the runtime interface client on there, but if you just search for like shell or bash. It's got Go on there. That's because the runtime's written in the runtime interface is probably written in Go. Look at all these dependencies. At least you get Boto 3 and Boto Core for free. All right, let's just deploy this thing. First, see if it builds. It should build. Cool. I need to draw a graphic for Lambda Layers. What should we use for Lambda Layers? I think we could do like, you know. I was thinking something like this. And we can change the color. I think this is like, you know, scene 1 and then scene 2 just becomes them compressed on each other. I think that makes somewhat useful sense. Still updating CloudFormation, that's cool. I think we can, is it, yeah, it's Docker run, and it needs a name, right? Name, 50 MB, Python. Is it IT? Oh, okay. DIT, okay. And then we need to execute the container image. Does that work? There we go. Okay, so we've got requirements there. Is there site packages here? No. Is that even going to work? Oh, no module name Flask. Okay, so my dependencies aren't working. What did they do wrong here? Pip freeze requirements. We got this Docker file. Did we not run pip3 install? That would have been a funny thing to do. Nope, it's right there. Python 3 pip install -r requirements. Let's see if this Lambda function even works then. I don't think it will. Again, this would probably go a lot faster if I just read the docs. That's on me though. It's Sunday. I don't have to read the docs on Sunday. Requirements already. Oh, there we go. var lang. There we go. There's a prefix. There we go. That's what we did. I didn't realize path was being set and LD library path were being set to var lang. Okay, that's what I did wrong. Do we have DU? We do. $512 megabytes. What did we all put? Oh, because this must be where Bodo core gets installed. Okay, so this is still not even that good of a... What I wanted to test was how much additional dependencies cost you in Python. So this isn't really fair. I have to think about that. But this should work though. Internal server error. You mean to tell me that there are servers here? All right, what did I do, chat? Service 50 MB Python. What went wrong? Oh no, we did it wrong. No, we didn't add the platform argument. Someone needs to remind me. So there are multiple complexities going on here. I'm on an ARM machine. I'm on a Mac. When I install a package for Python, it is aware because it has a dependency manager called Wheels, or a dependency pre-compiled, pre-built dependency system called Wheels, which allows you to add like pre-compiled architecture-specific dependencies and OS-specific dependencies. So regardless, I think the default architecture, the Docker will use whatever your system's on. So right now, that Lambda function is, that container image was built for ARM, but it's running on x86, which is why it's running with an invalid entry point or exec format error. The bytes are in the wrong direction. Actually, they might both be little endian. That might be wrong, but it's just presumably there's at the end of this is a elf file, and in that executable file, it is using instructions that don't exist on x86. So that's what's going on. And to cross compile with Docker locally, you can use the platform argument, or you can use buildx with the platform argument. And that's what I'm just adding to the serverless template. And it still says failure. Why? There we go. No module named Flask. What do you mean no module named Flask? It's there in the dependencies. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, that's on me. That's on me. I did it wrong. Let's try that again, everyone. That's my fault. As usual. All right, while that deploys, more layer graphics for what I think will be my first YouTube video. Does this make sense if we do... This becomes... Everyone I've talked to who's doing YouTube videos is doing them with Keynote. So maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but they're doing all the animations in Keynote. So I might end up doing that as well because it seems like a good thing to test and try. I don't like this then. We're going to remove that, and I need to make this the same size. Okay. It's a little better. Still updating. That's cool. So I think the idea for the animation for this video is to show that like these merge downward. So the files are copied. Your zip is copied, and then the layers are copied into the zip and flattened deterministically. So layer 2 merges on top of layer 1. The problem, of course, with this is that if you have, let's say you have a dependency on what's a common dependency we should call out. We'll just call it, arbitrary. Not exclamation mark, A. And we should probably change the color for this, right? No, it should match the thing. What does it mean for the layers to merge? Good question, Regalius. So what's happening is that zip files are a archival format that are not a file system. So you have to kind of open the zip up, take the files out, and then put them onto a file system so that your Lambda function can run. There's not necessarily a concept. It's not like it's going to create a directory called layer 1. It's going to copy them into the /opt directory, and it copies them in order. So layer 1 gets copied and all the files get put into some directory, and then layer 2 gets copied into the same directory. So if you have different file names, that's fine, no problem, right? They can exist. But if you have the same file name in any of your layers or your function zip, it will overwrite whatever was provided by the previous layer. So if you have, dependency, A, let's just call it like A at, 1.0, right? So now you have A at 1.0, but this layer that you're adding, this provides A at, 2.0. And this provides A at 3.0, right? They're just different versions. Unless they have different directories, guess what your Lambda function is going to end up with? Your Lambda function is going to end up with 3.0, right? So what you get at the end of the day, you get this. You get A at 3.0, which if your code is written to assume, it's got 1.0 and it's in line with the rest of your function code in your handler, it's going to fail and break immediately because it's going to import methods that don't exist, export methods that don't exist, rely on methods that have been renamed or moved or things like that. So this is probably the biggest challenge I see with layers is you can't avoid this, and there's also no there's no manifest file for layers. There's no tool that tells you what's in them. You can pull them. It's actually easy enough to pull a Lambda layer from either your own account or if it's public, like you can download Datadog's Lambda layers and open them up and see what's inside. That's fine, but that's a lot of work that basically people don't do. And then you end up in these situations where they add a layer to their project and it contains a dependency that is out of sync with their own dependencies, and it breaks because their function code is relying on A at 1.0 and the layer is providing A at 2 or 3. So this would also break code in layer 1 as well. It's just it's an issue. Do we work now? Hello world, your function executed slowly. It's bigger than 50 though, we know that, right? It's like 100 megabytes. 3600. Okay. So one way we can do this is we can grab the directories. So I'm in the container image now. Okay, we're back off the Lambda Layers track. We're back on our Python container image. And one thing we can do is we can take that list of directories we had and find their full dependency tree, and then just calculate that additional amount. That's similar to what you get for a zip. So what I want to do is inside of this path, varlang lib python, lives both my dependencies and everything that just comes with the default container image. Maybe we diff it. Is there? Oh, maybe that's the easiest way to do this. Because I want to look at what your own dependencies can cause. Because frankly, it's not that interesting to look at what AWS's specific dependencies would cause, because it's just not going to change. Regalius, are you allowed to tell us what you do at Datadog? Yeah, absolutely. I work on open source software at Datadog. You can review my PRs if you want. Here's the JavaScript library that I maintain. You can see there's my face. I did a lot of the latest releases, I think. We have a similar one for Python. There's my face again. So I work on these Lambda instrumentation tools that support observing and operating Lambda functions at scale within Datadog's like observability platform. So we handle processing and indexing logs and metric data, along with profiling data from like CPU and CPU and heap profiling data, and like tying that together with APM or trace data, so we can tell you what your function is doing and when and why it's slow. I also work on our Lambda extension. There, I'm over there. I work on a bunch of this stuff. This is all the open source stuff. We have closed source things that I work on, like on the back end, but that I can't really talk about, or it's probably not even that interesting because it's so specific to our internal architecture and design. So I just don't, I can tell you what I do, but it's kind of I think the open source stuff is most interesting. I also work on our agent, but there are many more people in this repository. 467. Hope that answers your question. Docker run name, we'll call it base Python. And it's ECR, what is it? I want to just execute the base. And Lambda? There we go. Okay, we got it. Let's just look at the Python 3.11. So I want to sort of see what our added dependencies are costing. I know it. There we go. Oh. Should we... Oh, I have to remove or oh. Oh, it started it. That's fine. Yeah, I don't care. What do we call it? Base Python? Can folks see? Nah, you probably can't. It's probably too small and too cramped to use splits like this. Okay, so that's actually not bad. We're at 60 megabytes. That's the difference, right? So we have 449 as the base image, and we added 60 megabytes. Okay, so that's good. I guess we'll have to take that as a point. 60 megabytes, and we'll do oh right, we have to delete units. 60, and then we need init duration, and we want to also check the round trip duration. Okay, so we're just gonna start charting these as we fill them in. We have 0, we have 60, that's fine, okay. Awesome. Let's plug this into the warmer. Or not the, I'm sorry, not the warmer, the cold, the chiller, the blast freezer, the thing that creates cold starts and invokes them. Cool. All right, now that I know the baseline, that's super helpful because I can build the image, see what we got. And we're all, the benefit now is we're looking at the actual Linux x86 version that will go into Lambda instead of just the one that's on my Mac, which is different. Okay. Okay, that stopped. And it's not going to run right. Okay, good. Good. So 449 is base. Cool. That's super helpful. And the reason we have to check that is that, like, first off, pip is going to install. I guess I could pass no binary and get the interpreted version and not the wheels, which are the pre-built for my architecture and my OS, and I could look there. Maybe that's helpful. Okay. So let's just go back to this. What's the function name? 50 megabyte. Okay. We'll plug this into the cold start benchmarker. Wow. It's time to remove some of these so I don't get massive bills for metrics. I think we get 10 free. All right, we'll just start here again. Okay, we'll start there. We'll deploy this, and let's go back over. Okay. I'm gonna bring the music up just a titch. Okay, first things first, we gotta pass the platform tag so we don't get another one of those exec errors. Okay, that's better. And then, well, we're already in a virtual. No, we need to deactivate this one, and then we need to create a new one. Then we need to source it. There we go. Now we need to. This is the 100 megabyte, and then let's run it and see what we can get. All right, while that builds, do we look back on this? I think this is clear. Regulus or anyone else is around. If this explanation of why, like how Lambda Layers works and how it creates a file system from each of the unzipped layers isn't clear, let me know. But hopefully that's clear. Then I can cut this into probably a short clip or a presentation or video and explain why this is a risky thing that you just can't avoid. The other thing again is like your editor, your local editor will likely complain and freak out if you're including code that isn't installed anywhere on your machine. Of course, there's ways around that. Definitely, I don't want to pretend like there isn't ways around that. I just think that it doesn't bring any additional benefits. So for the most part, avoid them. Docker run is start. Yeah, start. Oh no. that's not it. Okay. What? Oh, why does it have a slash in front of it? Hmm. That's weird. It's not running. It's absolutely running. It's not running. Why isn't it running? Status in use. It's definitely not in use. Did I miss a command? That'd be silly. Docker run, name, base Python. Oh, I didn't give it a command. I'm an idiot. Okay. I don't know why Docker can't find that image. It's right there. Is it the platform flag? Is that owning me now? Nothing should be running. What? This is stuff I'm talking about. Like, why it's telling me something's running, it's not running. I don't have anything with that close. Just build X. I'm just gonna kill Docker and start again. Okay, now it literally only shows one. I don't know why this Docker CLI keeps thinking I have a lot of stuff going on. There we go. What is it? Varlang. 217 megs. Wow, that's big. Why is there Python 3.8 in here? Oh no, did I? That's on me. Okay, it's definitely killed, right? It says it's done. So now if I just go do a docker run, why? That looks a little better. 447 though. Why is it smaller? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, I know why it's smaller. It's smaller because I didn't copy any dependencies. What do we need to do? We have to copy requirements. Run pip. All right, let's try that. What? Oh, Python M. That's what I did wrong. Okay, here we go. Now we're building. That worked. We're cooking with gas now. $455. So that's only a couple of megs actually. Right, because a lot of those must be built in. Yeah, PsychoPG is not that big. That's what's going on. So what do we do here? Like the right comparison would be additional packages we install. However, because I think my requirements files, including packages that already exist, Boto 3, all we're adding is Flask and PsychoPG, which are small. So we're not exactly vendoring our own. It's not overwriting it. Which I guess doesn't surprise me, because they both wouldn't be present, right? So what I'm debating is with the zip-based Lambda function, you still have to copy all of those bytes over at runtime into the sandbox, but with a container-based Lambda function, if I provide my own version of Boto 3 that's different, it'll overwrite that in the container image itself. So it's not apples to apples, right? Like that overwriting process happens at build time because Docker images comprise are composed of layers of tar.gz layers. So just like we're talking about the way, like analogous to how Lambda layers work, where files from each layer are sort of copied onto this underlying file system or flattened onto this file system. The same thing happens with Docker, but that happens at build time, not at runtime. So I'm not shipping additional dependencies in the same way I'm doing with the zip-based Lambda function, which means just specify my own version of Boto 3 like I was doing previously in the zip-based Lambda function won't change anything in this case, because that all is going to happen at build time. So I need new dependencies. So I think we axe Boto 3. I think we need another dependency of some kind. 350 megabytes, that is big. You can look at pandas. All right, let's do a Docker build that. I guess I could probably just run pip install in the container image and get an idea. Lib lang. Oh, it's var lang lib. Oopsies. So that's a little better. That is pretty close. 616. 167, so that's closer to 150 megabytes. Okay, I think if we just rename this folder then. This is how I got in trouble the last time. Because I was realizing how big Python dependencies were and kept moving the line up. Well, if this deployment run, that's going to take a while. I think this is pretty good. This makes a little bit of sense. If I can animate it with arrows in Keynote, that might be helpful. I don't know if the letters make sense. This burned me actually, like this burned a customer. What was the issue? I remember this issue. Whoopsies. Fine, I don't need to have to sign in. Yeah, so this is what got this user. They had a version of Nest in there. They had a version of Nest.js that depends on this library called path to regexp, and it was calling path to regexp.parse. Their code was in Swagger, right? So it relies on Swagger, which is a tool to create open API specification documents, and they have a dependency on this library path to regexp.parse, or path to regexp, in this method called .parse. And the problem is that path to regexp went from like v1 to v2, and in v1 it was doing like a .parse method, and in v2 it was just like a default export, was just path to regexp was a method itself. And you end up with a situation where we also depend on path to regexp somewhere in our code base, and we were providing either a newer or an older version, and that ends up flattening and destroying their application. So here, where is it? Okay, so NPM provides its own tree, which is great. Like, this gives you a path to understand which dependencies bring which functions. So Nest was bringing in 3.2 or 1.x, and it wasn't vendor. And normally these would get vendored, so you'd have like a path in your, like a prefix path in your dependency if you have a breaking dependency, I think is how that works. Actually, how would that even work with Platform Express? Because that's a 1.x. Maybe it would complain. Anyway, the issue is that within Lambda, you can see that it extracts these layers into a file system. I mean, that's sort of true. No, don't do that. Okay, let's go back to this. Where do they say this? I wonder why it's showing up here or not in the same path in container images. But I want to see. They moved their documentation. Here we go. There, this is the key right here. If your Lambda function includes layers, Lambda extracts the layer contents into the /opt directory in the function execution environment. Lambda extracts layers in order from low to high, listed by the function. Lambda merges folders with the same name. If the same file appears in multiple versions, the function that uses the version that's in the last extracted layer. So Path to XP was using our layer version, which is an older version or a newer version, one of the two, but incompatible with the code they were using. So locally, everything is fine, and then they add our layers at runtime, and they find out it doesn't work. That's problematic because in a lot of cases, you have a series of bits that have never been used together except when they run in Lambda, and occasionally for some users that means in production for the first time, which is an issue, right? Where you would never be able to see this coming unless you tested it like every layer and every dependency yourself, which some people do, and you should. Like ideally, you would see. The junior dev, hey, welcome to the channel. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. We're talking about why you shouldn't use Lambda layers for your Lambda functions. Ideally, you would test all of this, but people don't. And because there's not like a manifest file or a package.json file or a requirements, .txt file or whatever, right? A Go mod file, you wouldn't see if you have any incompatibilities ahead of time. So there's just no way to know what you're going to get until you actually execute it. And especially if you're like, you're upgrading 2 or 3 different layers at once, it can be really, really risky. So this is why I wouldn't suggest Lambda layers. And you can't do anything about this. There's just nothing to prevent this issue. You won't know you're going to have it until you run into it. And for a lot of people, they don't run into it until they're testing it in, an environment they don't necessarily want to have instability in. So they did update this doc. I think this is like better. I want to talk about this though. Why you should use Lambda layers. There are multiple reasons why you might consider using Lambda layers. To reduce the size of your deployment packages. That's sort of true. Your code still has to be below 250 megabytes as a zip file, including all of the layers. So your code plus every layer must add up to less than 250 megabytes unzipped. So yes, your deployment packages is smaller. That's true. If you have very heavy dependencies, that can take longer to run like a CloudFormation update, but it doesn't actually give you any additional size benefits. To separate the core function logic from dependencies. With layers, you can update your function dependencies independent of the function code and vice versa. This is a bad thing. This is only a bad thing. I don't think that's a good thing. Your dependencies are there for a reason because you depend on them. If you only make changes to the logic, yeah, I hear where you're coming from, but if you have a CI/CD pipeline that has typical caching involved, like anyone would with GitLab or GitHub or, code build, it's not that much of an overhead. This is totally true. This is 100% true. Sharing code across functions. I don't think I would take this risk unless I had a binary dependency. That's where I would really think. I think if you're running a binary executable across multiple runtimes, you're shelling out to FFmpeg, you're running an extension that runs as a sidecar process. That makes perfect sense. It's like, why would you build that as part of your function deploy process unless you have a very tight coupling in some way? But if you don't, I don't, there's like languages and package managers already have tools for this. Like npm and pypy all can, you can publish your own package privately. You can run your own private package manager. You can use a public one. You can even create a package in a different directory, right? And just like install it or use it like it's a module, like you would do it in Node anyway. So if you have like an authorization library, or I think really it would be, like your auth Z, right? You could definitely share that in a layer, but as soon as you have to update it, you have to kind of update it everywhere. It's sort of a pain anyway, and your package manager already has semantic versioning, which Lambda layers don't support. So yes, sharing dependencies is great, but they don't have any semantic versioning. So if you ever want to make a change, you have to just like know what's in each of those layers and know that it's compatible with whatever application code you have, which is why I think it fights with this point. So I don't think this is true. This might be me, but I always dislike the way layers is set up. Yeah, they could be good if they were more in tune with what your typical, like your runtime, or your like the language you're using. If they're more aligned with that package management and that versioning and those package managers, then I could see using this a little bit more. Like if you publish a dependency for a node function and it includes a package.json file, so you know what is in that package and what's compatible with it, and if it's compatible with anything else or incompatible with anything else in your build, you would know that at configuration time and not at runtime. That'd be great. I think that would be just fine. I still don't know what the benefits would be really here, but if you have a really slow CI/CD process, I guess that makes sense. Let's see. Oh, we didn't add a function URL. Pandas. All right, everything's building now. So I just don't like, I think 3/4 of these points aren't really true. And Lambda console code editor, I don't do that. I'm sorry, Richard Boyd. I just hung out with him last night. But if you're working on something totally, isolated in your own little dev preview environment, I think that's totally fine. But don't do this for any kind of production environment. It's only going to bite you. Only going to bite you. I wonder if there's a blog post about reducing function size with Python. How did you talk about the Lambda timing stuff go, by the way? I haven't actually given my talk yet. It's at reInvent. So that is coming up in a month. It is fully booked now, unfortunately, which is exciting. I mean, I unfortunately, because I've gotten some messages from people already that were excited to go and weren't able to get a seat. No, it hasn't happened yet. I've got the slides though. I mean, I'm ready to give it. I'm actually speaking with one of the most senior engineers on the Lambda team on the sometime this week, Wednesday maybe, about the talk, to make sure. Actually, I guess to like fact check me a little bit and make sure I'm not going to say something that is misleading. Even though I have streamed all of this, will be on YouTube. Yeah, so Regalius, it'll be on YouTube hopefully 2 days after I give it. So I think I deliver the talk on the 29th, and then on the 1st of December, it should be on YouTube. So I'll plug it. I'll share it on socials, and then I can also probably give it on stream at that point and share it with folks if they're interested. And maybe the recording should be pretty good. Usually the audio and video are really, really, really good for recorded talks. So I don't feel like I'll have to like recast it, but you know, things happen. All right, did this finish? Awesome. That very, very first execution is always super painful when you upload a brand new container image, because all of that code has to be cloned out of ECR. Okay, but after that, it's usually a lot better. So that's fine. We still need to find 100 megabytes. It's not going to be pandas. Yeah, I still haven't quite figured out how I want to create content on YouTube. I want to do more of these sort of talks. Obviously, when I'm doing them live, I've got an idea of the points I want to make and what I want to say, but to step through each one in a compelling and meaningful way is pretty difficult in my experience, unless I practiced. And I think that makes this like stuff on Twitch kind of more authentic and a little bit more exciting from that standpoint. But also, like, obviously I struggle with like basic Docker commands and some basic Python stuff that I haven't done in a while. But that's fine, right? Like, that's the format for this. It's not really the format for YouTube. So some of the points I want to make, I think, are best left, best left rehearsed and edited on YouTube. Yeah, beginner's guide to AWS account safety. I talked about that too. I did a little walkthrough like that on Twitch. And my hope was naively, exactly. So Joystick, yeah, Theo does his recording live and then also publishes an edited version of that on YouTube. I thought I could do that, and I got like 2 hours into editing one of my streams when I talked about like AWS account safety in terms of both, you know, securing it and also not getting a bill, and it just wasn't that good. So I think obviously Theo's been doing this much longer than me, very talented streamer and developer. And I think if I do more practicing, like more live stream practicing, maybe I can get the content I want for YouTube for like specific clips. And I'll be able to be better at that. Yeah, the editing, so I'd be perfectly willing to pay an editor, but even what I found is not only the editing was hard, but I didn't have the points that I wanted to make as clearly as I think of them. When in my head, I have this vision of how I want to create a video or how I want to create a blog post. And with a blog post, it's great because I can just read it over and over and over again, edit it. And I actually have worked with a professional editor on my writing, which makes it much easier for me to convey exactly what I want to get across without confusing people or being meandering, or, you know, the ahs and ums that I'm doing right now that you get in a video or you get on a live stream. You know, you can, inside of a blog post, you can edit all of that out and be very concise, which I find people stick with more. With YouTube and with Twitch, editing that content, I think, is, for me, my dream, right? If I could, not dream, but like the goal would be I can do a live stream, talk through my points, you know, get feedback from users, answer questions, and then cut that up into a YouTube video so then people can watch it later. In practice, I'm really struggling doing that. That was what I kind of thought this would be. I think, you know, there's like, whatever, a dozen people here at any point in the stream, which is great, and I'm really happy everyone's here. But so many people watch the VOD afterwards. I get like hundreds and hundreds of hits on the VODs, and I don't know how anyone follows them. I don't know if they just put it on for background noise or if they just try and find an answer. I don't think that's probably useful. So like an edited YouTube video for, you know, beginner's guide to AWS account safety, or you know, why you shouldn't use Lambda layers, I think is what I would like to be able to do. But being able to create it from my Twitch stream has not been as easy as I had expected. I do have like notes for this, right? I've got some, where is it? I have like a Lambda layer, you know, thing. Like, I have all of my points right here ready to go, and I can like read this script and do the video. But I don't think it's as crisp or as clear as I thought. I also think like Theo's contents are also like Theo's content and Prime's and some of the other creators is definitely more opinion based, and no, like, not that that's a bad thing at all. Like, I think that's totally fine. I want to be able to show the links to the documentation where I make these points, because this is a super common misconception, right? Like, so many users come to me and say, "Oh, I'm using Lambda Layers because it makes my, like, it means I can, like, use more than 250 megabytes worth of dependencies in my function," and that's not true. Containers give you that, but zip files and layers don't. So there's a number of those points I want to be able to call out with evidence. And I think I've seen Theo talk about that on stream, you know, and like pull up posts and such, or documentation. I've struggled to do that really effectively live, like as you just saw. So I think it's a combination of a practice thing. Obviously, Theo's got thousands of hours in the hot seat streaming. Let's see, Joytech. I think the people that watch this type of long form content are just interested in general tech, and they just put something up and hope there's something good in there. There's nothing else that's tech related. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad. I definitely think people hang out here because it's like ambient background noise. So I've even considered experimenting with just like a stream of my keyboard, you know, like no talking necessarily, just the keyboard. For that type of, like, here you can just sort of tune in. But I guess if the speaking is helpful, you know, hopefully it is. That's probably the way to go. I do want to be able to, like, I started the stream because I answered a lot of these questions before, and I wanted to start being able to, like, link to parts of the stream and send it. And that has been actually useful so far. Like, I've got a couple of clips and a couple of URLs with timestamps that I've sent to people before, where it's like, look, I talked about this already. Regalius, thanks. I appreciate that you're here for my speaking. Hopefully you learned something. Keyboard, ! Keyboard. I got a Moonlander. I'm a fan. It's a good keyboard. I think Melky also has a Moonlander. There's a few people. Yeah, I like it. Check one out. I wouldn't. It took me about 2 weeks to not be frustrated with it, but after that, I'm a fan. Yeah, Melky has been kind enough to raid me a couple of times, which has been really helpful. I think there's probably a few of you here now lurking or hanging out that came from his stream. He's great. I also helped him out. I've got a bit of AWS credits that I helped him with after he accidentally spent some money on AWS that he didn't want to. I can't justify another keyboard. I just bought a Mode Sonnet. Ooh. Oh, it's a nice looking keyboard. I've also done the 75%. Actually, I'm also a 65% keyboard enjoyer. So I've got, this is a Poker 3. Ooh. I think it's got greens in it. I like that a lot. That's a nice looking keyboard. Okay, let's see what we have here. Python-m, create a virtual environment. Okay, don't care about Twitter. I had 101, but I don't know what it was. That's annoying. I think it was Bodo 3 plus something else, yeah. So that won't be helpful for us because, once again, we're overriding it. Let's go back to pip, or PyPy. Oh, there's got to be a good JSON validator that's kind of heavy. We need about 50 megabytes. Flask wasn't that big. Junior dev. Yeah, that's a good point. I do want to be clear. I'm really happy writing software full time, so that's why I stream on the weekends. I'm doing this for fun, and I kind of did it as a way to force myself to collect all this data for my talk. I don't know how exactly I want this channel to grow. I want it to be a place where people can come and ask questions and learn about building services on the cloud. So I think maybe you're right. The way to do this is to do like some tech tutorials or some other YouTube shorts. I have not even attempted YouTube shorts. I've edited a lot of videos in the past, but never a short video, and certainly not in like a vertical format. Could try it. I think if you do the talking head thing, like I just take this slice of the video, maybe I could do that. In 1 minute, I could probably do my Lambda Layers rant in 1 minute or whatever it is, 59 seconds the limit is. Maybe that would be the way to go. Have you considered the podcast avenue? I've been on a bunch of podcasts. I've not considered starting my own. No, I would have to have a partner before I would do that. I have to have somebody that I already have really natural conversations with and would want to kind of do that weekly. I'm friends with both Dax and Adam from, tomorrow.fm or How About Tomorrow. I've known those two for a while, and we chat a lot about this type of content. I kind of pick their brains on it, but I do think it's a little like they do a good job and they have a good rapport. I think that's key. Oh, you watched my podcast with Dax? Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And so like, and you can tell, right, that like Dax and I are friends. We can talk. We have ideas to bounce off each other. And we want to go back and forth. So I think that type of you do need like a little bit of chemistry. Another podcast I'm into a lot lately is the Software Huddle with Alex Debris and I can't remember his name. I've not met this person yet. Why can't I think of this person? Why can't I think of his name?
Hey, welcome to Software Huddle. My name is Sean Faulkner.
And Sean Faulkner. That's it. I can't. I'm sorry, Sean. I'm sorry. I don't think I've met him yet. Alex and I used to work together a lot. This is also the author of the DynamoDB guide and DynamoDB book. So if you haven't heard of him or met Alex yet, he's awesome. I think these two are also pretty interesting to listen to. But we do need, I think, there's definitely a gap in the podcast space. I just don't know if I can fill it. I do enjoy them though. And I'm always happy to be like on someone else's, to talk about serverless or AWS. I've done a fair amount of that. Actually, Yan Shui, I'm on his podcast coming up pretty soon. So we recorded maybe a month ago, but I think we're coming out in a couple of weeks. Let's just grab that Twitch dependency again. We could actually do like a Twitch bot, so that's the other thing is like, now that this talk is winding down, what am I going to do on stream? Because I do enjoy I like hacking and stuff on the weekends anyway. And I've done a bunch of other projects over the years, but I'm wondering like exploring, I think all people that have ever streamed on Twitch are thinking, why don't I make a Twitch bot? Maybe that's what I'll do. How does Dax have such a strong Twitter game? I think you have to know that he's like, it's always a joke. So if you know that he's like a legendary troll, it's funny. I think some people take it seriously and get offended or think he's being offensive. And maybe he walks that line. I guess I don't really, he's a friend. I don't really think that that's the case, but I think having the brand is pretty funny. His pinned tweet gets me every time, which is that like, it's hard to talk so much trash because all of his code is open source. And I feel that vehemently. Like I just showed you all where all of my work is on any given daily basis. It's all in open source repositories. So that is, I totally feel that. Okay, what do we install on requirements? We just have to numpy and Twitch highlights. Is it from? I'll just import. I think I typed require in Python the other day. Okay, that should be out. Not 3.8. That should work. Oh, we should. I have to build the image and then also see how big it is. I still have to book my travel for reInvent. I haven't done that yet. I'm looking over. I've got all of these. Dang. Here's the badges from conferences for the last couple of years for me. It's been busy. We did the Hero Summit. This is from Datadog's Dash conference. AWS Summit. I think this is New York. This is AWS Summit Toronto. And here's a couple reInvent badges from recently. So I gotta hang these up and get some more, and then I'm gonna be done traveling for a while, which would be great. Maybe I'll hang those up behind me. Although I gotta be honest, I'm looking at the flights to Las Vegas and they are not great. Come on, deploy. I want to see if I can at least get 100 megabytes. I'll be annoyed if we overshoot this again. Oh, it's got MoviePy though. This is gonna be huge. I didn't really. I should have looked. Okay, that's cool though. What does this library do? I just installed it and tested it out. Not import. What is it called? Twitch something? PyPy Twitch something? Twitch highlights. This is gonna be huge. I should have looked. Oh yeah, this is it. What's a big Python script? That can't be it though. Maybe it uses the... No, it's the one. Oh no, it's not. Okay. This would be cool. I guess one thing I've thought about doing, Junior Dev mentioned this, but maybe I could look at my Twitch analytics and see when people chat the most, or when people like follow, or when people respond, and just automatically clip those. I think like there's I don't know if those would be good though, right? Like objectively good or high quality. I don't know if that would be good, but it would be interesting to try and make that project. Oh, it didn't give it a name. Oopsies. Pitch it as a proof of concept or something. Yeah, I mean, it'd be fun. Like, I think it'd just be fun to, like, build something like that. Python, I think, would be the obvious choice because there's so many good libraries for, like, processing video. Four 420 thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. We are playing around with dependencies in Lambda. Lang lib. It's not that many. What could this be? What could it be, Michael? 500 megabytes? Yo, you're out. Good luck with the work. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around. And anyone else who's hanging out, if you can drop a follow, that does help me out. What? Oh, yeah. So, okay, that's not bad. That is smaller than I thought. That is what we need. 449, what is it? 133, maybe that's what we just have to take. A little too close to the 160, 150 range, but... And to be honest with you all, like, the individual size of each package is only a estimate, because packages can do different things during static initialization and runtime, and that will be what gets you at the end of the day. And I can show you an example. Here's like an example slide for my talk. If you take the AWS SDK v2, that is about 94 megabytes. That initializes in about 650 milliseconds. Not bad, not great, not bad, right? If I install Material UI, which includes React and the virtual DOM, and then I also include a 55 megabyte JSON file for IMDb movie reviews, that is 114 megabytes. And guess what? That will initialize in 2600 or 2.6 seconds, 2600 milliseconds. So they're vastly different durations. However, they are very similar sizes. And that's why you need to check out your own dependencies. Regalius, this was with V2 SDK. Sorry, we can clarify that. All right. Let's remove NumPy and let's find another dependency we can add. How big was Flask? It wasn't that big. It's pretty small. Yeah, Regalius. So V3 is friendlier just by default. If you're using ES build or you're using, whoopsies. If you're using ES build or you're already packaging, it may just be that V2 is just as faster, and that's just what it is. I don't, it is modular, which is I think a little bit easier and cleaner to not do like a barrel import where you just take the entire SDK instead of any individual client. However, that is not the only thing that slows you down, and there's a fair amount of boilerplate code in the V3 SDK for Node because it's using something called Smithy to create libraries for multiple runtimes. So it's got like a kind of a big JSON file that then generates each SDK, and I think they include it anyway. I'm not sure if it loads every time you load the SDK. The answer is probably not, but regardless, it just is like a chunkier system. I did a comparison on that. JS, I don't think so. I thought they have a talk on this. Smithy's an RPC, like RPC client. I'd have to look. I have to look more deeply. I've only seen the results of it. I haven't actually read the Smithy source code, though it is open source. An interface definition language is what they call it. It's mostly written in Java. Do I know any of these people? I'm not sure I know any of these folks. Maybe I'll try and meet somebody at reInvent and ask. I mean, it's got its own language too. I mean, I understand why they do that, right? They have to support Swift, Kotlin, Ruby, Rust, Golang, TypeScript, JavaScript. Yeah, it's a lot to own SDKs for, but I think it's really hard to design performant SDKs. There is a project on GitHub that is significantly smaller version of the SDK that I'm kind of exploring. It's pretty neat. It doesn't have everything yet, but it's like a very lightweight version. And I think they already have contributors too. I don't even think I need to run bash. I think I just need to run that command. It would be an image, right? I want to start a, yes. I forget how this works. Do you have to put this in quotes or not? Okay. Docker run options image args. Okay. I don't like this at all. I'll just keep using bash. That's fine. Why is this taking so long? Conflict. Oh. Whoa. Okay, that's not bad. 589 minus 449. Where are we at? 140. Wow, we keep overshooting. That's frustrating. Oh shoot, we're already way over time today. I didn't realize we were so late. I'm sorry. I'm going to start a raid for Melky today and kind of give back. I will keep working through this. Melky today and kind of give back. We'll see. We will see what we end up with, but I will try and figure out a 100 megabyte function and keep creating more of these set points. And then what we'll do is we'll plug them into the cold start benchmarker system, which is right over here. And once we get that, we'll start to collect more data. Oopsies. We'll start to collect more data and figure out the different bits that contribute to your Lambda cold starts, specifically with Python and containers, and see if containers are faster or slower than zip files. Regalius and everyone else, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Take care. See you soon.